It's finally here, everyone. The 2020 Formula One season is finally upon us. I can just hear it now, the engines roaring, Brian Tyler's incredible theme, the sound of Romain Grosjean's Haas spinning off into a wall on the 8th lap. It's beautiful. You know, there's actually a lot of interesting stuff this season, like, putting aside the massive COVID-19 epidemic that's just put the entire world on pause, there's actually tons of storylines about this season, and I just can't wait to see them all unfold in front of us. From the recovery of Williams, to McLaren's incredible continued resurgence, to Lewis Hamilton and his quest for his 7th world title. It's going to be shaping up to be one hell of a season. 8 races across Europe's confirmed so far, and hopefully many more to come. But you know, I can understand that you might need a refresher if it's been a while since you've paid attention to F1, or you might need a little guide if you're thinking about getting into it, which I highly recommend you do. So, I've decided to make this little thing for you. I've been waiting so long for this, man. Full disclosure, I started making this video after the qualifying for the 2020 Austrian Grand Prix, and the teams I'm presenting are really just focusing on the drivers and the cars, and are presented in no particular order whatsoever. So, here we are, presenting a casual guide to the 2020 Formula One season. Let's start with Mercedes, the big juggernaut of F1. Mercedes-AMG Petronas F1 team, the defending champions. They've won the last 6 Constructors and Drivers Championships, and Lewis Hamilton has won 5 of those titles. The Silver Arrows are looking very, very strong this year, having made a very strong car and taking a front row lockout in qualifying the first race in Austria. They're clearly the favourites to win both championships this year. In terms of drivers, Mercedes have 6-time world champion and current defending champion, Lewis Hamilton. Supporting Hamilton is his Finnish wingman, Valtteri Bottas, who, while not on Hamilton's level, isn't nearly as bad as many say. The Silver Arrows are also taking on a bit of a different approach with their livery this year. They're running in a new black and turquoise design, meant to represent their commitment to diversity within the team and in F1 as a whole, and if I may say, god dang, does that thing look really slick. I can't wait to have Lewis Hamilton lock the title up with 3 races left though. Jesus. Yes, Team Max Verstappen. These guys look like they'll be the only people with a serious shot of beating Mercedes over a whole season. But even then, it'll be quite the challenge. Last year was filled with turmoil for the Austrian outfit, with questions over their driver lineup, and the car was really only 3rd fastest. Red Bull will be hoping that they can act their act together and catch Mercedes. Driver-wise, they've actually been putting all their eggs in the Max Verstappen basket for quite some time now, and it's not hard to see why. He's one of the most talented drivers of this generation, and he's got the skills to win multiple world championships one day. Even now, the Dutchman is in the conversation for the best driver on the grid. In the other car, Red Bull went with Alex Albon, the Thai-British driver. He's pretty talented in his own right, coming into the team halfway through last season, and really, he's just in the hunt for his first podium. I'll be interested to see what happens in that Verstappen-Albon teammate battle over a full season. Racing Point. These guys are quite the enigma this year. The Canadian team, which is owned by Lawrence Stroll, the father of driver Lance Stroll, has pretty blatantly copied the 2019 Mercedes car when creating their own competitor for 2020. I mean, it's not the worst idea overall. I mean, it's faster than the 2020 Ferrari car, it seems. And they'll be hoping to use this blatant plagiarism to get to the front of the midfield again. Driver-wise, Sergio Perez is a brilliant and solid midfield driver who's capable of dragging a midfield car up the order as it can go. The other driver is Lance Stroll, who really isn't that great, but he could be more deserving of being called F1 quality if he can actually get his qualifying sorted out, because his race pace actually isn't that bad. He got into Q3 at Austria so far, so he's got that going for him. Oh, Haas. If you watch Drive to Survive on Netflix, which I highly recommend you check out, then you know this team. Last year was awful for Haas, between the Rich Energy sponsorship fiasco and the car that got progressively worse and worse and worse over the season, 2019 was definitely a year to forget for the only American team on the grid. Driver-wise, these guys have the serial crash magnet Roman Grosjean and also Kevin Magnussen. I actually have a bit of a soft spot for Grosjean. He's not as bad as people think. Honestly, I like seeing Haas do well, and I hope they'll be able to have a better season this go-round, especially with questions over the team's financial position and F1 future. They also have that awesome new livery, so, I mean, yeah. The meme team Dream Machine continues its resurgence. Full disclosure, I'm a British-American McLaren fan, so I may have some bias here. Last year was fantastic for the British team, achieving P4 in the Constructors' Championship, and Carlos Sainz getting P6 in the driver's standings. The team even got a podium in Brazil. That was their first since 2014. And, as a finishing recording, Lando Norris got himself an incredible podium in Austria this year, in the first race of the season. These guys have one of the best driver lineups of the season, with resident smooth operator Carlos Sainz partnering the eternal meme lord himself, Lando Norris, before the former moves to Ferrari at the end of the season. Honestly, I was thinking the McLaren were looking strong enough to get a potential podium this year, and they've already delivered, which is extremely impressive. This will also end up being McLaren's last year on Renault power before they switch to Mercedes engines for 2021. The Woking outfit will be hoping that this results in the continuation of their monumental climb back to where McLaren belong, at the top of F1. Ferrari. What a goddamn mess these guys are this year. Extremely worrying testing times, coupled with a car that seems like a total mess. This year already seems like a write-off of the prancing horse, and that's even with the incoming upgrades at Hungary. Seriously, Vettel out of qualifying in Q2 at Spielberg? Seriously, guys? How far this team has fallen since the glory of Schumacher's era. They haven't won the driver's title since 2007, and a constructor's one since 2008. Still, it's not all bad though. They have one of the transcendent talents in F1 in Charles Leclerc, alongside 4-time F1 World Champion Sebastian Vettel, in what will be his final year for the Scuderia. It's definitely not out of the question that they'll be able to get a couple of good results this year. I mean, Leclerc got himself a podium in Austria, even with a massively large amount of DNFs. Good luck, boys. You're gonna need it. Oh, Renault. I remember when you guys were talking about how you were going to take the fight to the big three teams. That comment has aged about as well as spoiled milk, because the French teams seem more likely to go backwards in performance than fight the midfield. I mean, this team and the phrase reliability issues seem to be completely intertwined. I mean, they'll probably be amongst that big midfield brawl, but I don't see them getting that far up the order when challenging the Racing Points and McLarens consistently. Driver-wise, though, they are actually pretty well off. Australian fan favourite Daniel Ricciardo is in his last year before he moves to McLaren, and the returning Esteban Ocon makes up the other driver in the Renault lineup. Aside from that, there is one thing that Renault should be commended on: that damn incredible colour scheme. AlphaTauri is the rebranded Toro Rosso team from last year, only it's now named after Red Bull's ridiculously overpriced clothing brand that you have to be out of your mind to actually spend money on. It's still Red Bull's B team though, but they have a brand new livery and color scheme that I am honestly a pretty big fan of. Last year was actually the Italian squad's best in their history with 2 different podiums, Daniel Kvyat at Germany and Pierre Gasly at Brazil. The 2 drivers have actually remained the same this time around, with the aforementioned Kvyat partnering Gasly, a man with the strange ability to go slow in fast cars and fast in slow ones, if his tenure with Red Bull is anything to go by. Considering this is the B team of Red Bull, this is really Kvyat and Gasly's best chance to try and prove themselves if they would be valuable in a Red Bull seat one day. But will this team continue their incredible form from last season? Well, only time will tell. I don't know what to make of this team. I expected them to be around lower midfield, nothing special, but nothing terrible. But being behind Haas and one of the Williams cars in qualifying at the first race of the season should have some alarm bells ringing. The fact that Kimi Räikkönen's suspension also decided to take a vacation in the middle of a race should also be cause for concern. But Raikkonen is a legendary F1 driver. He won the 2007 Drivers' Championship, and his teammate, Ferrari protege Antonio Giovinazzi, has also been steadily improving as time has gone on, so the Swiss outfit should have at least some optimism. I really expect some of these guys to go around, I don't know, P9 to P15 sort of area, maybe higher at tracks that suit them. There was once a time when Williams were the name most feared on the F1 grid. Drivers like Nigel Mansell, Alain Prost, Jacques Villeneuve dominated the tracks under the Williams banner. Those days are long gone though for one of the most historic teams in Formula 1 history. Even worse, the team is in dire financial straits and seems to be willing to compromise its independent status for funding. And last year was horrific. 1 singular point out of 21 races, dead last in the constructor standings. This year is expected to be another last place, but there is actually some hope. George Russell is continuing to develop and show just how much of a talent he is. And Nicholas Latifi isn't even that bad, even if he is a pay driver. The car even looks much better this year. And the team doesn't nearly look as much of a shambolic mess as they were last season. I mean, at the first race of the season, Russell was actually doing really well before retiring with mechanical issues, and Latifi came home safely in P11 with so many others lost their heads. I'm cautiously optimistic for Williams. Good luck, boys. God damn, you're gonna need it. 8 races have been confirmed so far for this season, with 1 already being completed by the time of this video's release. The season starts in Austria with a doubleheader at the Red Bull Ring, before focus shifts to Hungary, before a doubleheader again at Silverstone in Great Britain, followed by races at Catalonia in Spain, Spa in Belgium, and Monza in Italy. So let's move on to some predictions that will probably be terribly wrong. So, for the Drivers' Champion, I went with Lewis Hamilton, with the Constructors' Championship going to Mercedes. Runner-up, I have Max Verstappen and his constructor of Red Bull. And for the best of the rest, I think that's going to be McLaren and Lando Norris. The full Constructors' table is as follows: Mercedes, followed by Red Bull, McLaren, Racing Point, Ferrari, Renault, AlphaTauri, Alfa Romeo, Haas, and then Williams. I'm not exactly great at predicting things, so in advance, congratulations to AlphaTauri on their first Constructors' Championship. Well, that's it. That's my casual guide to the 2020 Formula 1 season. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and found it entertaining and informative. Like and subscribe to the channel if you want more videos like this, and leave the video a like and comment if you want to give me some feedback as to how I did. This is really my first real good YouTube video, so I would be interested to take any feedback that you guys might have. With that being said, thanks for watching guys, and let's get ready for hopefully an incredible season.